Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another quick draft of March the Machine. Without further ado, let's just get into our absolutely ridiculous pack 1 here. We are loaded with a ton of incredible ways we could go in this pack, and honestly I don't know what is the 100% correct pick here. I'm not sure there even is one. First off, our rare is Hitotsugu and Kairi, which is a ridiculously powerful card. 5 mana for a 5/4 flyer, and they draw 3, then put 2 cards from your hand back on top of your library when they hit the board. So you're up another card there, because 3 minus 2 is 1, you're still up a card from that. And when they die, you exile the top card of your library, your opponent loses life equal to its mana value, and if that card is an instant or sorcery, you cast it for free. So potentially a 3 for 1. If you play this, it hits the battlefield, draws you another card, and then it casts something when it dies. So that is absolutely absurd. Even just a 5 mana 5/4 flyer is a relatively big finisher in draft, and stacking those other 2 abilities onto this makes it the strongest card in this pack by pure power level at face value. The thing that makes it potentially not the pack 1 pick 1 is the fact that it is very restrictive in terms of its mana cost. You need double blue and a black. So you have to be playing blue and black, and you have to be heavy into blue ideally. That being said, still a super strong card. Next up is Karuga the Macro Sage. Very solid card for any deck with a lot of cards with mana value 3 or greater, because it can draw you a lot of cards when it hits the board, depending on how big your board state is. It's also a great companion to try to build around if you can pick up a lot of copies of cheap removal spells, particularly the Afara's Dispersal. That's a 3 mana removal spell, but it costs 2 less to cast on an attacking creature. That's how you kind of get around the companion cost of this and still play a bunch of cheap interaction. So fun companion to build around, pretty strong card. Don't think we're going to take that over Hitotsugu and Kairi though. But then there's 2 really good uncommons. Tangled Skyline to help stabilize in green decks, and Captive Weird as an incredible card draw spell for any blue deck. These are the most flexible picks, I would say, because these fit into any blue or green deck super well, and they're monocolored, which is nice. And then there's also Halo Forager competing with Hitotsugu and Kairi, but if I take a blue-black card, I think I'm just going to take Hitotsugu and Kairi over the Halo Forager. So, super powerful pack. I think you couldn't go too wrong with any of these 5, but I think the 3 strongest ones are Captive Weird, Halo Forager, and Hitotsugu and Kairi as first picks. And regret to inform you, all of you who like drafting a variety of different decks, but if I keep opening Hitotsugu and Kairi, I'm just going to keep drafting it. Blue-black is a tremendously powerful archetype, and Hitotsugu and Kairi is a tremendously powerful bomb rare to scoop up pack 1 pick 1 here. Pack 1, pick 2, nothing really strong off color to push us off of our pick 1, pack 1 Hitotsugu and Kairi here. So we could take Halo Charge Scab if I want a card that can combo off with some rares and mythics. That's probably a little too high variance of a pick here because it's not very good by itself. It just has some really fun combos you could maybe pick up. So I think the pick's probably between the 2 uncommons. Oracle of Tragedy gives us a great early game play, which is super important to have a lot of. It's a very flexible one, setting up your draws early game and then making sure you don't mill out late game. And then Inga Rune Eyes, which is probably stronger at face value, but it is a 4 mana card, which is a little less important. You have less room for those higher mana cost spells, but you do have room for like 6 to 10 2-drops really, so I think I'm going to go with Oracle of Tragedy first, even though Inga is potentially quite good. If you trade Inga off during combat, that's 2 creatures dying already, so all you have to do is cast like 1 removal spell, and then trade off with something on blocks to get Inga to trigger and draw you 3 cards, which is massive, so still a cool, powerful card, but I'm going to go with Oracle of Tragedy just to grab the cheaper card first here. Pack 1, pick 3, Protocol Knight is practically a blue-white gold card, so it's not really for the blue-black deck. Invasion of Eldraine isn't great unless you're pretty good at attacking battles, but it can be good. Outside of that, Dreg Recycle or Failed Conversion are very filler. So I think I'm interested in taking a potential splash here. I think Elvish Vatkeeper and Tangled Skyline would both be great off of a green splash, and Volcanic Spite would be quite solid cheap removal for a red splash. I think I'm just going to go for the Elvish Vatkeeper here. It's just great value up front, giving you a 3-mana 3/3 and a 2-mana 2/2 at worst. And it doubles up the power of all of your incubation as long as the Elvish Vatkeeper stays on board, which is pretty massive. So I'll take the Vatkeeper here. And I think being blue-black splash green is a little more frequent, at least for me, than trying to splash in red. I just feel like the colors play a little better together. Pack 1, pick 4 now. We don't have much. Huntmaster can be good in the right deck. I don't think blue-black decks tend to be the greatest place for Huntmaster. I might just take Thornwood Falls to help green and blue fix together. We could also take Alabaster Host Intercessor, helps splash in white, and it's really easy to splash in itself. Pretty dang weak pack overall. Botanical Brawler is the best card by a lot, but that is completely off of what we're starting with. I guess I could still take it and just be very open to trying to be the green-white aggressive +1/+1 counter strategy. Yeah, I think the most reasonable picks here are Botanical Brawler as the strongest card in the pack by a lot, Thornwood Falls as the most likely to play with the cards that we currently have, and then Completed Huntmaster as like the absolute safest pick, where it might be pretty mediocre, pretty medium, but be hard for it to just completely not end up in the deck unless the draft goes really, really well. I think these are the 3 best. I'm gonna get a little bold here. I'll take a Botanical Brawler. I'll be open to that potential green-white +1/+1 counter deck pivot, because I am not seeing a lot of gas for the blue-black deck. You know, that being said, looking through this pack, the green and white cards are super filler. Sanctifier is a good filler, 2-drop. Sensor's a bit iffy. Depends on how many Phyrexians are in your deck. This is a double-edged sword that can sometimes hurt you even more than it hurts your opponent, which is pretty bad. So I'm not in love with these white cards. Blighted Burgeoning is the best green card here, and that's not very good for the green-white +1/+1 counter deck. Pretty good for splashier green decks. If we go green-black and try to splash in Hitotsugu and Kairi, something like that, or green-blue, splash in the black, it could be good. But we could also just take Unsealed and Acropolis, which is a pretty nice value play in blue-black. And I don't usually like taking it, just pick 5, but there's such little competition here. It's like Aetherblade Agent versus Unsealed and Acropolis. I guess we're getting to that point. Pick 5 is when half of the pod has already seen this pack, so 4 cards are out of it. Yeah, this is fine. I'll take an Unsealed and Acropolis. This card gets a lot better the stronger the creatures are in your deck, the more just individually powerful spells you have, and Hitotsugu and Kairi really fits that bill, so I'll take the Unseal over the little Death Toucher there. That'd be fine. Alright, now we can take a Skittering Surveyor to help splash around a bit pretty well. Nothing great for the green-white counters deck outside of the pretty good combat trick. Skyline's pretty nice off the green splash if we're blue-black splash green still, but I'd rather get the card that helps me splash first. Grab a Skittering Surveyor here. Alright, whole lot of nothing for blue and black. I am just not going to play an Ichor Shade. I'm just not going to play a Negate. There's Seal from Existence versus Bola Slinger for green-white. And nothing worth splashing in. I should just take something good for green-white. I'll just take a Seal from Existence. So we have some removal in that direction. Alright, not a lot here. I'll just take a Gloomfang Mauler. Fine. Finisher, you can get it common. That can also mana fix you early. Pack 1, pick 9, there's a Jungle Hollow for the green splash. Or Realmbreaker's Grasp or Aerial Boost for green-white. I'll actually take the Jungle Hollow here. I mean, I have 2 cards towards green-white. I guess I kind of only have 3, like, really good cards towards blue-black. Not been a perfect draft. I don't know, I'm still going to take Jungle Hollow, though. Well, packs are turning into just green and white cards. That being said, all of these cards are pretty bad, and I try not to play them in most of my decks, even if I were drafting green or white. There's like fine filler 1-drops, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, I think I just take the filler +1/+1 counter 1-drop here. Okay. Now we got black filler cards back, Dreg Recycler and Failed Conversion. I'll take the Recycler, hope to get better removal than that. We did wheel the Completed Huntmaster, decent sign for black. Wield an Agar, wield a Rayav, and the final pick is a land. Still not confident with what's going on here, but if we get a pack 2 pick 1 Grimgrin Corpseborn, then we could solidify ourselves into blue-black, because now we'll have 2 bomb rare creatures in blue-black, as well as Unseal the Necropolis to either pick them up from our graveyard or mill towards them and try to pick them up. Grimgrin is very powerful, especially if we build around it a bit. We're definitely early enough in the draft to do so. All you have to do to make Grimgrin really good is to just draft a bunch of cheap creatures in general, especially cheap expendable creatures, and we already have an Oracle of Tragedy and Skittering Surveyor that work really well with that ability to sack one of our creatures to untap it so that we can then attack with it, blow up an opposing creature. I'm going to take Grimgrin here and be very happy with that. If I was living in Magical Christmas Land and I could wheel whatever card I want, I would definitely choose to wheel the Skyclave Aerialist. It's a great, cheap, evasive threat, very good at attacking battles, and it can draw you a card when it flips. But I don't think that'll come back. Maybe we'll get a Recycler. Maybe we'll splash in an Invasion of Lorwyn. Who knows? But I'm starting off with Grimgrin here. Pack 2, pick 2. There's basically only 2 cards in competition, so nice 2/2/2 there. We've got Afar's Dispersal for very cheap interaction. We're super low on interaction right now, so I think I'm just going to slam dunk that. But we could also take Ozlith off the green splash. You get this on the board, it's going to start putting 2 counters onto one of your creatures every single turn, which is pretty deadly. And it does have cycling, so that even if you don't have the green mana, you can just cycle it away. You know what? This actually might be a strong enough splash to take this. It's impossible to be completely useless, because even if we don't have the green source, we can just cycle into the next card then. And when we do have the green source, pretty massive effect. Plus, worst case scenario, we did just rare draft, so get another rare for the collection. Alright, pack 2, pick 3. Can take another 2-drop with the Oracle of Tragedy. It's a very nice 2-drop, or Eyes of Gitaxias is a very good 3-mana spell too. These are the best 2 cards for this archetype by a lot. Quite far towards just blue-black at this point. So let's check out how that looks. I do like the Eyes of Gitaxias quite a bit with Elvish Vatkeeper potentially, and Ozolith. It comes with an extra +1/+1 counter, right? Yeah. However, I do like Oracle of Tragedy a lot with Grimgrin, and it's in the main color, so it synergizes with something in the main deck right now. I'll go for the Oracle. It's really close though between Oracle and Eyes of Gitaxias. They're both very good, very, very good cards. Triple Oracle of Tragedy. Let's go. Maybe wheel a Meeting of Minds if we're super lucky. Kind of the only other card we want. I guess Unseal the Necropolis is good in here too. But let's just have triple Oracle of Tragedy and really have the setup for sacrificial fodder for Grimgrin. Get plenty of premium 2-drop creatures. Wow, Norn's Inquisitor is a very, very good card. Be nasty to see that pick 5. We're not going to play any of this stuff. I guess I could take a Bladed Battle Fan. Random little combat trick to protect one of our bombs. Whole lot of garbage. In pick 6, there's a Fearless Scald and Invasion of Asgol as the best cards, just like Rakdos Sacrifice stuff, which is nowhere near our deck. Just grab a Rona, not be particularly happy with that. Nezumi Informant I am particularly happy about. This has a great enter the battlefield effect. It's a great value creature. Super good to sacrifice to cards like Completed Huntmaster and Grimgrin. We're kind of just blue-black sacrifice here. The Huntmaster keeps getting better because we're just drafting expendable cheap creatures to go with the Grimgrin already. So that's pretty nice. Assimilate Essence is actually a pretty nice counterspell in the format. Counter unless you pay 4 pretty much always counters, and countering a creature or battle is flexible enough that it hits like 3/4 of the spells being cast. Another Dreg Recycler, again with our kind of sacrifice theme going on here. Another Bladed Battle Fan. And we wield the Eyes of Gitaxias. Let's go. Let's go all the way to town. And back, because we wield an Unseal the Necropolis as well. Put some nonsense in the sideboard and see what we open up. Wow. I'm going to give this bot a pick 15 Fearless Scald. Can be the happiest bot. See what we open up in pack 3. Alright, well, you know, sometimes the gods of RNG are in your favor, even if maybe certain other colors might have been a little bit more open than blue-black. The fact that we opened Hidetsugu and Kairi into Grimgrin into Breach the Multiverse means that with hindsight of knowing what we ended up opening in these 3 packs, we are in the best colors we can be in. Because we got lucky and opened 3 on-color rares. So let's go. Breach the Multiverse. Come on in. Join the party. This is an incredible bomb rare. One of the things worth noting is that it is one of the ones that synergizes with Halo Charge Scab and goes infinite with it. We breach the Multiverse. Each player mills 10. Then we choose to reanimate Halo Charge Scab from our graveyard, which will then mill us 2 more cards and put Breach the Multiverse back on top of our library. So next turn we can just cast Breach the Multiverse again. We can do that until we completely mill our opponent out, which usually only takes 2 turns, because we'll always have a Breach the Multiverse on top of our deck after it resolves, thanks to Halo Charge Scab's ability. So we won't mill ourselves out, but we'll definitely mill our opponent out. So I think I'm going to go for the Halo Charge Scab to help guarantee that we have that combo locked in, and that Breach the Multiverse is just straight up you win the game on the spot. Also because the main card it's competing with is Glistening Dawn, which is another incredible bomb, but I think our deck has more than enough power level just within blue and black now that it's going to be better to just not do the green splash and just go for more consistent mana and a more consistent deck in general, just in 2 colors. So I'm going to take the Scab, just go for the pure blue-black here, but I could definitely have seen a 3-color version of this deck. I could take this next Halo Charge Scab to have some redundancy to be really certain that I can breach the Multiverse combo, even if the Scab gets exiled or something. However, I think the second is quite a bit less important to where I can just take the Skittering Surveyor here. Be quite happy with that as another expendable creature. And the Halo Charge Scab, we can just add it to our deck if it wheels. Like, I'm still going to take it if it comes back, but I think I can wait on it and try to grab it later. It's not like it's not a make it or break it kind of thing to have a second copy. Pack 3, pick 4. I like the 2-drops quite a bit. Saiba Cryptomancer and Aetherblade Agent. Aetherblade Agent is actually a 2-drop. Saiba Cryptomancer you save till later in the game, but it is really, really good with Grimgrin, because it's here to protect Grimgrin or Hidetsugu and Kairi from removal spells from our opponent. And not only does it do that, but with Grimgrin, it protects Grimgrin from a removal spell, and then Grimgrin can sacrifice the Cryptomancer to untap later, which is super, super good. So I think I'm going to take Cryptomancer over the Aetherblade Agent. But that card is also quite good. These are the best 2 cards for us in the pack. Etched Familiar and Ichor Shade, quite a bit weaker. We'll take a Cryptomancer. Pack 3, pick 5. I might do something really weird here, because Mirrodin Avenged is a card I really, really strongly dislike. However, we have like no hard removal at all in this deck. That is the one thing that has not been getting passed to us whatsoever in these colors. We've got an Assimilate Essence and 2 Bladed Battle Fans, and that is it for interaction. I guess Grimgrin can blow things up. But with Mirrodin Avenged, I can make a chump block with a Skittering Surveyor or an Oracle of Tragedy or anything like that, and then use this to finish something off and draw a card, which could be important. Most of the time I'd just take an Expedition Lookout, but that's because most of the time I'd have at least 2 or 3 removal spells by now, so I think we're actually in desperation mode where we're going to play the very narrow Mirrodin Avenged to give us more ways to potentially kill things. Now, we don't have any battles for Render Inert, so I'm not that interested in it. Nor am I interested in the Etched Host Doombringer. I guess I'll take an Urn of Godfire, but that is 6 mana removal, which is super bad. But I guess I could have it in for now. Now there's a failed conversion. Alright, get a bunch of very bad removal spells to wrap up the deck here. So we've got some removal. Omenhawker can be pretty great. If you can get like 4 mana off of this card in one game, that's pretty nuts for a 1-drop. So you don't need that many abilities in your deck. That being said, we're probably low enough that it's still pretty bad. So Huntmaster doesn't really help too much with mana there. We've got Eyes of Gataxias we could use 2 mana on, and that's about it. Yeah, it actually looks kind of weak in here. I guess it's good with Urn of Godfire. Let us get to that 6 mana earlier. Then we just need to make it to 4 mana for Urn of Godfire to get sacrificed. But it's probably better to take Gloomfang Mauler, although I don't know I'll be playing the second copy of that either. Take a Tidal Terror here over a 3rd Bladed Battlefan. And alright, the bots do not give us any removal spells all draft. RIP, Sadness on the stack. Take a bunch of on-color cards while we wield the Expedition Lookout. And let's just build blue-black, no removal, all bombs. I say no removal, but we have removal. It's just the very bad spells. So we're at 46 cards. I'm just going to cut Urn of Godfire right now. 6 mana is just a whole lot. Let's go Mirrodin Avenged and Failed Conversion, I guess, for the hard removal. I don't think Battlefan's particularly strong in here. And I think Unsealed and Necropolis are stronger pieces of card draw than Moment of Truth. So I'm going to cut that, drop at least 1 Battlefan, and this is kind of our interaction suite. Mirrodin Avenged, Assimilate Essence, Battlefan, and Failed Conversion. Don't love it. Don't love it at all, but it is what it is. We're at 43 out of 40 cards. I actually think Expedition Lookout looks pretty sweet in here with 2 Unsealed and Necropolis, a Halo Charged Scab, and a Breach of the Multiverse. I don't think Rona looks very good. Rona's just a lot of mana, color restrictive, and the discard is, you have to discard a lot to reanimate the Rona. I think I'm going to drop Rona, drop a Gloomfang Mauler, drop 1/2 drop, probably one of these recyclers. We got plenty of other good ways to sacrifice our cards that are better than that. Yeah. Drop a recycler. And that's the deck. Bit of a fingers crossed kind of deck here, that we don't run into anything that needs to be killed immediately, which is something that can show up quite often in this format. But if our opponent doesn't bomb us out, then we'll certainly bomb out our opponent. That's kind of March and Machine as a draft format in general. Bombiest format of all time, but you know how it is. Alright, pretty strong deck today. I think that is what we're going to roll with. Alright, here's a look at the final deck list for today. It's another blue-black nonsense pile, this time with some pretty bad interaction. We have Failed Conversion, Assimilate Essence, Mirrodin Avenged as the counterspells and removal spells, and then 1 Bladed Battlefan for a combat trick to try to leverage as removal. Outside of that, though, our deck is pretty phenomenal. We have a lot of cheap expendable creatures like Skittering Surveyors, Nezumi Informant, Triple Oracle of Tragedy, a bunch of cheap expendable creatures like those that we can sacrifice to Completed Huntmaster to turn them into larger creatures, or sacrifice them to one of our bomb rares, Grimgrin, to untap the Grimgrin so that Grimgrin can start destroying creatures our opponent controls. We also have Hidetsugu and Kairi as a massive bomb rare, and probably the strongest bomb in the deck, Breach the Multiverse, which is already insane, reanimating the best creature from both graves after milling 10, but it can also go infinite by picking up our Halo Charge Scab, which will put Breach the Multiverse back onto our deck to play it again next turn, and we can just do that every single turn until our opponent mills out. So we have some really strong finishers in this deck. We just have some very lackluster interaction. So we're hoping not to play against anything super bomby and get just enough time to resolve one of our own atrociously powerful bomb rares. So we'll see how it goes for us as we head into the gameplay. Here we are for game 1. Our opponent is on the play. We've got the Oracle of Tragedies to help draw and discard to find the 3rd land, and any 3rd land gets us to Skittering Surveyor, which can grab the black source, so we'll keep the hand. Playing against green-red, Seed of Hope into Invasion of Urgamon. Discard a card, draw a card, get a treasure. Drop an Oracle of Tragedy, draw a card, and discard a card. Find another swamp. Sure, I'll hit double black. We'll be on double blue, double black here. Our opponent drops a Herbology Instructor, which can flip later as a removal spell, and a Skyclave Aerialist. off the treasure, which can flip into a 2/4 flyer and draw them a card. Drop Skittering Surveyor, grab a land, but we're just chilling. We gotta draw into something explosive, something scary here. For now, we're just blocking on the ground. Our opponent's going to tap out to flip the Skyclave Invader and draw a card, attacking their Invasion of Urgamon for 2. Puts it down to 3 defense. Draw a Dreg Recycler here. Play Oracle and Dreg Recycler? Sure, that seems fine. Drawn to an Assimilate Essence? Guess I can hold on to that. Or hold my mana up for that, potentially. Sure, let's actually drop the Recycler. If they ever successfully flip the invasion, we can counter it unless they spend all their mana. And if they drop that, we can just counter that. Because that would grab them 2 basic lands from their deck, put them into play, let them get whatever colors they need onto the board tapped. Now we can Failed Conversion the Invader, while they are pretty much tapped out, and then we can Surveil into a Breach of the Multiverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Surveyor hits mana 6, and then I can unseal for more lands. Yeah. Let's keep Breach on top so I draw it immediately. And then if I don't want to Surveyor next turn, I guess I need to Surveyor next turn to hit land 6. Alright, I didn't think that through. If I put the land and then the Breach, though, then that gives me some potential issues. Alright, let's draw a card, discard a card. We're locked in on Breach of the Multiverse. Now I'm going to draw this land guaranteed since I got a chump block off. Now we're good. Because I just go land, Surveyor, and then Breach next turn. So we actually just drop the Huntmaster. Could even unseal the Necropolis with my extra mana. And this should be pretty game ending. Blighted Burgeoning. Alright. Some mana fixing for them, and they incubate 2. Attack their Invasion of Urgamon again. Get our chumpies going. Mutagen Connoisseur. It's gonna be a 2/5 flyer attacking the invasion. It's probably gonna flip it. Okay, let's unseal. Didn't hit any of our spooky bomb creatures. Let's pick up an Oracle for certain. I think I'll pick up a Cryptomancer too for the future. And let's just Breach the Multiverse. Alright, there's a Hidetsugu and Kairi. We did not mill our Halo Charge Scab. Yeah, I'm thinking Hidetsugu and Kairi. What creature of theirs do I want? Just a 6/5 reach trample? 6/5 reach feels pretty good. Alright. Draw 3, put 2 back. 5 cards left. A little sketchy to put Unseal on top, but I think I'm still doing it. Land, Unseal. Wait, if Hidetsugu and Kairi die immediately, we get to Unseal off the top. They're down to 8 cards in library. We're down to 7. Okay, now 7-7. Let's just drop an Oracle of Tragedy, I think, and be pretty safe here. Guess I chip in for some damage, though. I hate that I'm going to shuffle the Breach the Multiverse in when I have a Halo Charge Scab in the deck somewhere. But I think it's right to do that. Just put in the 4 strongest cards. Alright, cool. 4 strongest cards are shuffled back in. Hold up Cryptomancer and unseal, I think. Overplaying a Tidal Terror. We can just keep shuffling in with these Oracles of Tragedy. And keep casting unseals. Because we keep shuffling in all of our mill. So they're activating all of their incubator tokens to have as much stuff as possible to beat me down with. Send the Connoisseur at my face and try to kill the Ancient. Well, we'll hexproof it then, and they're just going to scoop it up. And say, I'm pretty sure I revealed Cryptomancer to my unseal earlier. But then when I hovered over it, it didn't have the revealed symbol. I think that's because Hidetsuga and Kairi drew me 3 and then put 2 cards back after that. Which meant technically I could have put the Cryptomancer back on top of my deck. So it then re-hid the cards. So my opponent could have just forgotten about Cryptomancer if it was revealed earlier. And then realize it there. And yeah, attack and then Shatter the Source did not work out super duper well for them. Either way, though, we were probably getting there because Breach the Multiverse is an absurdly busted Magic card. So we'll start this draft off 1-0 heading into Game 2. Here we are for Game 2. Another definite keep. I'm always going to be keeping those turn 2 Oracle of Tragedy hands. As long as they got both colors. Playing against green-white with a Portent Tracker on turn 2. If they drop Portent Tracker on turn 2 into a Blighted Burgeoning on turn 3, that can really ramp them up. Just a gross amount of mana. I'm just going to discard a Tidal Terror. I'm not going to land cycle it, and I think I can find something better to do once we hit 6 mana. By then, hopefully. Drop Eyes of Gitaxias. We'll be taking 1 hit from the Zhalfirin Lancer. Ooh, there's a Grimgrin. That is something better to do. Be really nice if we could wait till we have 7 mana up to do that. And have the Cryptomancer back up. That would be very strong. There's the Botanical Brawler. So that every time they put a +1/+1 counter anywhere else on the board, the Botanical Brawler also gets a counter. And they're going to hit us for 3 with the Zhalfirin Lancer. We're down to 17. And they will pass the turn. Alright, an Oracle of Tragedy. Kind of want an Oracle of Tragedy discard Expedition Lookout, looking for a 6th land. Try to just hit land 6, land 7 here. Breach the Multiverse. Well, I'm really trying to hit land 6, land 7 here. Went from sorta trying to really trying to. I guess if I have a Breach the Multiverse coming up, we should probably just slam down a Grimgrin on turn 5, even without the Cryptomancer protection. Just unsleeved, just pure cardboard Grimgrin on the board. crispy edges and everything. Cosmic Hunger is the play to clear out the 3/3, so we will take 3 damage from Zhalfir and Lancer. And Assimilate Essence is the draw. With that as the draw, I'm mildly tempted to Informant and make them discard one of their 2 cards in hand, and then just Assimilate Essence their next play. See how this plays for us. Discard a Plains. Sigiled Sentinel. Alright, well, good to have an Assimilate here. Because that would have been pretty large. The Zhalfir and Lancer would get +1/+1 in Vigilance naturally. Then they could put the +1/+1 counter from the Sentinel anywhere. And the Brawler would get a counter as well. Alright, show me a combat trick here, or they just kill one of these 3 creatures. Oh, that was an excellent trade. Let's go. Draw a card, discard again. Looking for a land. Do not find a land. Alright, I think I'm giving up on Cryptomancer Grimgrin. Let's keep the Recycler. Something I could play immediately. How greedy do I want to be? Let's not be that greedy. Let's just play Grimgrin right now. I feel like it'd be a lot greedier to just play a Dreg Recycler. Let's make them need something massive immediately. Alright, untap the land for Portent Tracker. They've got 6 mana available thanks to that. And they are going to play a Timberland Ancient. Well, it's a good thing a Grimgrin is absolutely Nutter Butters. And, oh my god, alright, so we're just going to go ahead, untap our Grimgrin, attack with Grimgrin, blow up their 6/5, get another counter. And then we're going to breach the Multiverse, pick up our Hidetsugu and Kairi. Oh, nope, pick up our Halo Charge Scab. And pick up their 6/5 we just killed, it looks like. Oh, their 8/8 Trample Hexproof actually seems a little better. And then we'll put our Breach the Multiverse back on top of our deck for good measure. And they will scoop them up. That is going to be 2-0 now off the back of some atrociously powerful bombs. I don't even think I needed to Breach the Multiverse that game. I think Grimgrin would have got us there, but Breach the Multiverse certainly sealed the deal. Here we are for game 3. This is an incredibly awkward hand. It does have both of our colors, but Mirrodin Avenged, Bladed Battle Fan don't do anything without creatures. Assimilate Essence only works when they're casting something, and Double Unseal the Necropolis don't do anything without creatures in our grave. I'm going to take the mulligan here. These cards don't seem like they function super well by themselves. I'll keep this hand, and we'll just be super high on mana, I guess. Just all mana all day. Let's go. I mean, we love to see it. Every game we've wanted to just keep playing a bunch of lands. Go all the way up the curve, make it to Breach the Multiverses. Or be able to play a Grimgrin or Hidetsugu while holding up the Hexproof trick. About 4 out of 5 mana for Hidetsugu and Kairi. Surveyor is going to be the 5th, so I don't know if I immediately want to cycle Tidal Terror here. Ooh, this is a curve and a half from our opponent. Captive Weird into Fairy Mastermind. Don't flip the Weird turn 3 though, which means they have something better to do than hit with a 3/3 and draw a card. Oh my god, Preening Champion. Alright, well, this hand shaped up quite well for a mole. However, on the play with this curve out, I'm not sure how well it's going to survive this. Yeah, 6 mana is quite a long time from now, so I'm just going to help guarantee land drops are made throughout the game. And then I can play a slightly bigger blocker now instead of Surveyor. However, there's not really a point in anything bigger than a 1-2, unless it's a 3-3 that can trade into Conjurer, so we still drop Surveyor for now. Yeah, I don't think our early creatures are big enough to not die to Yuta Takahashi over here. World Champion XXVII? What is that, 27? I think that's 27. Yep. Conjurer gets flipped, and another planes for our opponent. We take a million bajillion. We're down to 11. Drawn to an Eyes of Gitaxias, which doesn't give us an immediate creature. I only have the mana to play one spell. Let's play a Huntmaster so I can theoretically double block a Conjurer, get the 3-3 off the board. Land number 5 for our opponent. Monastery Mentor. So every time they cast a non-creature spell, they now get another 1-1. And there's a non-creature removal spell. Yep, that's just too explosive. Well, hard to win with your explosive late game bomb rares if your opponent has explosive early game bomb rares. Those are just going to win every time. Opponent on the play with a ridiculously aggressive curve. I think almost every deck in the format would have a really hard time beating a curve out like this. Not too much we could do there. Super strong stuff from our opponent. Even their non-rare cards were just phenomenal, like Preening Champion and Captive Weird on curve, so super, super powerful deck from our opponent. Gonna take it from us. We'll be 2-1 heading into game 4. Alright, I can't resist. I'm gonna snap keep that. 4 lands, Skittering Surveyor, and a Dream with the 7 mana Breach of the Multiverse. Let's go. Who needs early game plays when you have turn 7 Breach the Multiverses? Trademark Warner Brothers Entertainment. I think that's what it was. Multiverses. It's the name of the Warner Bros. Fighting game where you can play as Bugs Bunny versus Arya Stark. The world is a wild place. Let's drop Skittering Surveyor. Just save the Assimilate for a 4-drop or better. Probably okay to do. I don't think it matters too much between blue or black here. 7 more black sources in the deck and only 6 more blue, so let's grab another black, I guess. We gotta keep that ratio even. I could attack for 2, I guess. But I am going to play as defensively as possible. And then I'm just going to find out that my opponent is main decking Negate, and then I'm going to be very sad. They could have Artistic Refusal and stuff, though. There are main deckable counterspells that would counter Breach the Multiverse. And Negate is fine. It's on the lower end of fine, but it's fine. Alright, well, Tetsuko Umezawa means we're never blocking any 1 power or 1 toughness creatures again. So I could start attacking now, except that Tetsuko Umezawa also has 3 toughness, which means if I attack with both, I'm just getting in for 1 damage anyway. Let's take 2 damage. Izumi Informant is the play. That's annoying enough. I'm gonna assimilate Essence it. Nothing else to do with my mana right now, and I do not have any expendable cards to discard. I guess I could discard Unseal. But I really can't be discarding a land. Alright, there we go. That's all 7 mana. Okay, now that they've attacked with everything, we actually do get to chip in for 3, which is cool. Last turn. Take another 2 damage. They drop Eyes of Gataxias. Sack a Berserker, trying to hit land 5. Do hit land 5. It's our turn. There's land number 8 for us. Kind of like being able to double block the 3/3 here, so I'm just going to hold off again. Alright, they don't flip the 3/3, so no double block of the 3/3 involved here. Fingers crossed, I'm sending my tap out energy to my opponent. Please tap out. Preening Champion. The mythic rare common. Best common in the format. They are not tapping out. They could have a negate. They could have exactly a negate. That's the only thing they could have. So hopefully they're just holding the mana up to flip the egg later. We draw into land 9, so if Breach the Multiverse doesn't resolve, we just lose. So let's see. It does resolve. It's very nice. Their graveyard is a bunch of Berserkers, an Izumi Informant, and a Gloomfang Mauler. I guess I'm picking up a Gloomfang Mauler. Our graveyard is a Grimgrin and a bunch of poop. We'll take a Grimgrin. Back up. Back up onto the Grimgrin. If I back up on the Recycler, I still don't get a good attack in with it because they flip a 3/3 block with a 3/3 and a 2/2. I'll just put the counters on the Mauler so that they have 2 cards they really need to kill. They need to kill Grimgrin and the Gloomfang Mauler. Now I have some nonsense in the graveyard to pick up with Unseal the Necropolis, which is good. And I could just go for Unseal the Necropolis loops. Sacrifice 2 things to make this a 7/7, right? I believe I can. I think it's better to lose Surveyor and Drug Recycler than lose Grimgrin here. They get a 2-for-1 off the Final Flourish, but forces them to use another removal spell on Grimgrin. Yeah, that was worth it, that's fine. Grimgrin's gone. We can unseal and get Grimgrin back, along with an Oracle of Tragedy to shuffle a bunch of stuff. They're going to hit us for 2 in the sky with Preening Champion. And cast an Aetherblade Agent. Unblockable Death Toucher. Oh my god, and we just draw into Hidetsugu and Kairi. I should probably unseal before I cast Hidetsugu and Kairi, because I don't want to just mill the 2 cards I put back, unless I do. I want to just play Hidetsugu and Kairi and just put some more lands back on top to mill. And actually, if I draw 2 more lands off this draw 3, that actually seems kind of legit. Let's do it. I did draw 2 more lands, so we just put land, land, land there. Oh wait, no, I'm putting 2 cards back. So land, land. We're going to mill 2 lands and 1 other card. Off the unseal. They could double block the Gloomfang Mauler, lose Tetsuko Umezawa and the Aetherblade Agent, or they take 7. I'm at 12 though. So I kind of want to have blocks. When they hit me for 7, if they clear my entire board. If they don't block this, I might play Expedition Lookout and try to outrace here. Okay, if they do block, that's fine. Take less on the crackbacks here. And then I'm just on unseal, I think. That is a phenomenal card. Hello, Chrome Host Seed Shark. Every time they cast a non-creature spell, they now also incubate that much. This deck is insane. I thought our deck was good. Yeah, their draft pot. Good grief. It was so open. Deadly Derision, Double Final Flourish, Invasion of Amonkhet, Merciless Repurposing, Chrome Host Seed Shark. Like, we just opened 3 great on-color rares. Theirs was just like... The bots did not go near blue-black. Alright, let's unseal in response to this, so we might actually have an instant or sorcery on top. Pick up a Grimgrin Oracle of Tragedy. Mirrodin Avenged, which I can't play. It was an instant, though. Land number 9. Let's go. That means I can play Lookout, Oracle, and Grimgrin for as many blockers as possible, but their stuff's all in the sky now. Take 4 on the crackback, guaranteed. Like it's the best we have. I mean, I can draw a card, discard a card before I do anything else just to make sure. Bladed Battle Fan is the draw. Not really do it for us. I'd still rather discard Tidal Terror, though. Because I'm not playing that this turn. For sure. Play Grimgrin Lookout, I think. Okay. We take 4 damage in the sky, go down to 6. They're going to incubate 2. Untap Grimgrin right now. Shuffle in our 4 best cards, I think. Flyer. Breach the Multiverse. Unseal, I guess? Probably the best 4. You could also draw, discard, and discard the Bladed Battle Fan as an option. Gloomfang Mauler is the draw. So I can have 2 blockers for the 2 creatures on the ground. And hit really hard with Grimgrin this turn. Try to lethal them next turn off all this nonsense. Cryptomancer? I'm still alive with 1 life. I take 5. But yeah, that's a pretty good one to have there. We'll see what they top deck while empty-handed. Not lethal, it looks like. Yeah, it's an Aether Blade agent. Well, I can't lethal him either. Which means unless I draw a flyer here, I'm still gonna die. Actually, even if I draw a flyer, probably will. What happens if I draw a flyer? I kill the Seed Shark by attacking with Grimgrin, then I have 3 blockers, one of which is flying, flyer, non-flyer, non-flyer. Yeah, I still die even if I draw a flyer. I need to draw, like, Breach the Multiverse, exactly. Grimgrin only sacks creatures, so sacking a Battle Fan isn't gonna do it. That is not an option, and we hit a land. Well, I don't know what to say there. I said it earlier in the draft, or in the game, but that deck is obnoxiously good. We are running up against some cream of the crop piles that are like mythic S+ tier decks. Gonna be some very uphill battles from the start, and we are 2-2 heading into game 5. Here we are for game 5. Bit of a slow curve here. We don't start till turn 3, but we've got both the colors at the ready. So we'll keep it and see where it goes from here. Our opponent starts with a turn 1 Enduring Bond Warden on the play. So they're playing 1-drops like Bond Warden, means they're probably a pretty aggressive deck. Yep, green-white aggro on the play with turn 2 Botanical Brawler. And we didn't draw any of our 6 or 7 2-drop creatures. Certainly starting from behind again. Our opponent goes 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop on the play in an aggressive archetype. Cycle the Tidal Terror. Drop a completed Huntmaster. Serpent Blade Assailant is a backup card to go with the Brawler, so they can have Bond Warden become a 2/3 Death Touch till end of turn. Brawler becomes a 3/3 Trample permanently. Lancers are 3/3, they get to attack with all 3. I have no blocks except chump blocks, so I take 8 or chump block. Take 8, go down to 8. Drawn to a Skittering Surveyor, so at least I have a creature to play this turn, but it's just the aggro archetype curving out on the play. Is what it is. There are a lot of cards that kill us right now. There's the Bola Slinger. If they draw land, they can go land Bola Slinger, kill us with that. Chomping Kavu, I think, kills us as well. Those are the 4-mana green backup creature at common and the 4-mana white backup creature at common. Storm the Seed Core, if they hit a 4th land, also kills us. Puts a bunch of +1/+1 counters all over the board, gives Vigilance Trample. Blighted Burgeoning does not kill us this turn. But lord, do we take a lot of damage. And pretty much our only options are to chump block. Because I can't stack up a double block without dying. Alright, I'd take 8 if I stack up a double block for a kill. Which means I have to just go... I guess I could trade with the Assailant at least, but then I have to chump here and go to 2 life. Or chump here and still go to 2 life. I guess if that's... No, this thing has Death Touch, so it's going to be a trade either way. So yeah, it doesn't matter. I was going to say, if that's the case, I could put Huntmaster on the Assailant and Surveyor on the Lancer. Stop just as much damage and maybe keep a creature, but not against Death Touch. Alright. Oh, I guess I should have done it the other way around so I could incubate. Forgot about that part. It can't sacrifice itself. Don't know why I thought it could sack itself. Actually, no, even if it could, because of trample, I put it on the wrong place. Okay. We should have put Huntmaster on the Death Toucher and then Surveyor on the Lancer and sacked Surveyor. Then I would have a 3-3 to flip this turn. I'd still be at exactly 2, but the board state would be the same except I have a 2-2 Incubator, which means I still die, because I just drew another Unseal. So I could only play one creature this turn regardless. I could flip a 3-3, I guess, now, if I played it correctly. I could flip a 3-3 and hold up a Battle Fan and then die to them having 4 attackers. Alternatively, I can play a Scab and die to 4 attackers. Play a bunch of different cards and die to 4 attackers. Well, not much to say about that. 3 pretty devastating losses here. I think this deck was solid. It had the really glaring flaw of not having particularly good removal. Our removal was really bad, but in all 3 of our losses, I think even if our removal spells were incredible, we're probably losing those matchups. We played against the blue-black mirror deck, where our opponent just had a much more open time drafting blue-black in their draft pod. They had scary bombs of their own alongside a ton of excellent removal and stuff on curve. And then our other 2 losses were both to incredibly aggressive decks on the play that got to use all of their mana every single turn, just dumping creatures out from turn 1 onward. They went 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, flip a captive weird, and this one was like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 3-drop, and then 4 mana stuff after that. So not a lot you can do against those really aggressive rollouts, especially when each time we also had really slow hands, even by our deck's measure. Like, our deck is slow, yes, but we have early game blockers. We've got 6 of them, 6 2-drop blockers there, and Assimilate Essence for early potentially. So just some rough matchups against aggro, and all 3 decks that we lost to were just incredibly powerful decks. Certainly happens. Definitely a grim way to end it, just a 2 and 3 with this pile today. But that's going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons very much for supporting this channel, as well as you for watching. If you're interested in seeing some more videos like this, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you more of these videos in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.